I don't care what the calendar says. Today didn't feel like an off-season day at all. Yeah, no. Something shifted behind the scenes that reminds you the league still tries to bottle what the 49ers do best. There's also a quiet call being made inside the building that reshapes how the offense can function. There's a goodbye hanging in the air that isn't just about a name on a jersey. It's about a specific kind of stress defenses have to feel. And then there's a decision at a spot that can look harmless, right up until it burns you in 2 snaps. Sit with that for a second. Which one of these sounds minor until it ruins a Sunday? Start with this. Robert Saleh barely lands in Tennessee, and he's already pulling on a thread that runs straight through Santa Clara. Matt Mayako said Saleh is bringing 49ers assistant defensive line coach Greg Scruggs with him, hiring him as the Titans defensive line coach. And I know some people hear assistant and instantly tune out. Don't. The defensive line is the heartbeat of how we want to play. It's the trenches turning into pass rush turning into a rush decision, a bad throw, a turnover, and suddenly it's 3rd and long and the whole stadium can feel it coming. Scruggs isn't some out-of-nowhere hire either. He worked with Saleh with the Jets, went to Wisconsin, then came back and got folded into the standard here fast. And Shanahan basically warned everyone this could happen. He said he expected Saleh to ask for people as he built his staff, so it's not like this is some sneak attack. Still, it matters, because assistants are the ones living in the details every single day. Hands, footwork, leverage, the stuff that's not flashy in October, but wins in January when everything tightens up and every rep feels heavier. The reassuring part? The foundation of that room is still standing. Chris Kocherek is still the guy, the chaos artist, the one who turns effort into real production. So we didn't lose the brain of the operation, but we did lose a trusted set of hands. And with a new defensive coordinator coming in, it's fair to ask, are we staying true to that aggressive DNA? Or is somebody about to get cute and try to reinvent the wheel? Because sure, Tennessee can try to copy the formula, but the formula isn't a single name. It's culture. How you coach, how you practice, how you respond when things go sideways. And while we're all processing that, the next situation hits a lot closer to home because it feels like a chapter is closing on offense. I'm going to be straight with you, faithful. This one smells like the end of a cycle. Brandon Ayuk, who's lived in that maybe it can be salvaged lane for months, is sliding hard into turn the page. John Lynch even said, sometimes it just doesn't work out. Whether that ends in a trade or a straight release, the message is the same. The team has to move forward. And it's not just about losing a player, it's about losing a role. Ayuk changed the geometry of the field. He could threaten vertically, force safeties to back up, and create room for everything underneath. When you remove that kind of threat, you don't just lose yards, you lose fear. And when defenses stop being afraid, they squeeze the box, sit on the short game, and dare your quarterback to fit throws into tighter windows. That's when drives die in the red zone. That's when nice on paper turns into punts. Nobody wants that movie again. Now add another layer, because it's not only Ayuk. Juwan Jennings is set to be a free agent. Kendrick Bourne, too. Lynch has made it clear he wants Jennings back, and I'm right there with him. Jennings is soul. He's that go-get-it presence on 3rd down. But he's not the pure lid lifter. Not the guy who takes 1 rep and turns it into a chunk play down the field. You still need lightning. So the name being floated as the deep threat answer? Alec Pierce. And this is where you pause and ask yourself, is this real or is this just fan daydreaming? Because Pierce hasn't been good in flashes. The last 2 seasons, he led the league in yards per catch. That's not a random hot streak, that's a profile. That's a guy who makes defenses pay the moment they get lazy with leverage. Picture what that does in this offense. A real vertical threat gives oxygen to the play-action game. It opens those intermediate windows for Kittle. It gives crossers room to breathe without a safety sitting on top of everything. It forces the back end to respect speed. And when they respect speed, the run game sees lighter boxes. The whole thing starts to feel less cramped. That's how you get those easy throws that aren't actually easy unless the defense is stressed by the deep ball. But the debate writes itself, price. There's talk of a deal around 4 years, around $81 million. That's serious money. So what's the move? Do you pay for a true field stretcher because you can't afford to lose that element? Do you bet on Ricky Pearsall to become that guy and stay healthy? Do you hope Bourne comes back and you manage it cheaper? This is one of those crossroads where good enough can turn predictable fast, and predictable is how you get bounced. Now, while everyone's locked onto the receiver room, something happened inside the building that didn't come with fireworks. But it might be the steadiest thing you could ask for right now. Clay Kubiak withdrew his name from consideration for head coaching vacancies and is staying put as the 49ers offensive coordinator. That matters, because continuity here isn't comfort, it's a weapon. This season had moments of real chaos, injuries, instability, games that felt like the plan was held together with tape. In a year like that, losing the mind of your offense is how you quietly slide backward without realizing it until September smacks you in the face. Kubiak isn't just a title. He's been central to how Shanahan structured things, and Shanahan has already trusted him with play-calling responsibilities. When Kyle hands that over, that's not ceremonial, that's building. And Shanahan didn't hide the logic either. Any move for Kubiak to be an offensive coordinator somewhere else would have needed Kyle's approval because it's lateral. And Kyle basically said, "Why would you let him be somebody else's offensive coordinator? He calls a lot of plays here." Translation, he's ours. He's part of the engine. That kind of stability matters when you're absorbing roster change without starting from scratch. Purdy keeps the same language, the same rhythm, the same weekly routine. The line keeps the same adjustment system. The receivers aren't relearning the whole world, but it also comes with heat. If the offense stalls when it matters most, there's no new staff excuse to lean on. The responsibility is right there on the table, and honestly, that's how it should be. And now we hit the roster decision that people love to ignore, until it turns into one explosive play that flips a game. Jason Pinnock is headed to free agency. He started early, finished as more of a dime package role player, and the tape is the tape. The Rams exposed him, and when a division opponent puts something on film, the rest of the league takes notes. That's just how it works. To be fair, Pinnock got moved around. He went from playing deeper safety early to working closer to the line in dime looks. And that's not some tiny adjustment. Angles change, reads change, timing changes. So yes, there's a case for bringing him back cheap. He knows the building, knows the terminology, and he already has chemistry with guys like Upton Stout, Malik Mustafaha, and D. Winters. Familiarity can help in the offseason. It can. But the bigger issue is simple. In that dime role, he wasn't good. And the worst kind of defensive problem is the one an offense can hunt on purpose. Not, it happened. More like, we're going right at him and forcing conflict. That's why San Francisco reduced his role. It wasn't personal, it was protection. Now look at the safety picture and you see why this gets tense. Jair Brown has proven he's the best dime option, but he struggled the more he had to work as a traditional safety. Mustafa looks like a capable starter. Marquez Sigla hasn't shown enough to be trusted yet. So the clean answer is letting Pinnock walk and bringing in a veteran to push Siegel and stabilize the spot opposite Mustafa. There are plenty of names in that lane: Kyle Duggar, PJ Locke, Andrew Wingard, Julian Blackmon, MJ Stewart, Nick Cross. You don't necessarily need a superstar. Sometimes you just need a guy who won't give away the back end and can tackle in space, because one missed tackle in the open field turns into 7 and everybody's yelling at their TV. Be honest, what do you want here? Keep Pinnock as insurance because he knows the system, even though we've seen the weak spot. Or spend a little more for steadiness, because one busted coverage in a playoff run can erase months of work. And that's what ties all 4 stories together. This franchise is choosing where to stay patient and where to be ruthless. A piece of the staff leaves with Saleh. Ayuk feels like a chapter closing. Kubiak staying keeps the offense from resetting. And the safety decision is a reminder that the margins are thin, especially in the NFC, especially when you're trying to get back to a real playoff run. So I'm asking you straight, which one of these changes your confidence level for 2026 the most? Drop your take in the comments. Hit like, subscribe, and let's talk it out. Would you pay big money for a real deep threat? Or are you betting on what's already in the building? Niner gang, I want the debate.